Hi, my name is Janina, and I will be your guide today on a virtual city tour of Krakow.
Below my feet, you can see a tile with the emblem of the city. Krakow is the former capital of Poland, and today a well-known historical and tourist destination. We are starting the tour at the beginning of their so-called royal route, along which one can find most beautiful and interesting sights. In front of you, there's the building of the Academy of Fine Arts of Krakow. In the middle of the square, the Grunwald Battle Monument, commemorating Polish-Lithuanian great victory over the Teutonic Order in 1410. Behind, St. Florian Church. We will be heading towards the entrance to the Old Town. In front of us now, there is a Barbican.
The Barbican is the medieval defensive structure of the city walls of Krakow. It was built in 15th century to reinforce northern part of the city. It's invincible. It has never been conquered by anyone.
It's constructed from the brick, has 7 watchtowers, and many shooting windows. From medieval times till 19th century, it has been surrounded by a moat. This is the plan of the Old Town. I want to show you our today's route. We are here, in the north. This is the Barbican, and behind Grunwald Battle Monument. And here, the only remaining part of the defensive city wall that used to surround the whole city. We will take the royal route southwards, down to the main square, that was laid out together with the rest of the city back in 1257. The most significant building on the square is St. Mary's Basilica. We will later see Sukiennice building, the area of the Jagiellonian University, and Grodzka Street, second part of the royal route that leads to the castle. At the end, we can either continue by Grodzka or turn to Kanonicza Street to get to Wawel Hill, the former residence of the royal power and of the bishopry. The old town is today surrounded by the park, called Planty. They are established on the area of the former wall and the moat. The city plan is very neat. You can see 3 parallel streets on every side of the square. They make the city plan looks a bit like a chessboard. Since medieval times, Krakow was never destroyed, so you can admire here medieval urban planning. Let's have a look at Planty Park. It's a pleasant recreational area of the city when you can safely stroll during the day and night. Families walk about with kids, joggers run, tourists rest. You can often listen here to the street bands. I filmed for you one of such concerts. Okay, that was fun, but we are coming back to the tour. Let's turn towards the entrance of the city. This is St. Florian Gate, the only one out of 7 that is preserved till today. It used to be the main gate through which travelers, guests, envoys, and most importantly, kings, were entering the city. On the tower you can see the white eagle, which is the emblem of Poland.
We will enter the city now, as the kings used to, through the main gate, one of the 7 gates of the medieval defensive city walls.
Look how those walls are thick. You can see here a holy painting of the Virgin Mary that is supposed to protect the city. Behind the gate, we can see Florianska Street, the main commercial track of the old town. But before we'll follow it, I want to show you the walls from the other side. This is the inner side of St. Florian Gate, with the bas-relief of St. Florian that protects the city from the fire, and is the patron of the fire brigade. He is represented here with the bucket of water, pouring it over the buildings in flames.
This is the other part of the wall that is preserved till today. You can see one more tower in front of us, and also the installation of the art exhibit. We are laughing in Krakow that artists who exhibit their paintings here are those ones who didn't make it to the Academy of Fine Arts that is outside of the walls, a few meters from here.
To the left, in the part of the former defensive city walls, and in the picturesque building ahead of us, there is the famous Czartoryski Museum.
The Czartoryski Museum is the oldest museum of Poland. It has been established in 1876. The founder of the collection is Izabela Flaming-Czartoryska. Czartoryscy is the name of an aristocratic noble Polish family. They were the first ones in Poland to collect art. In their collection, the most famous painting is Leonardo da Vinci painting
Lady with an Ermine. We will now see the poster advertising it. The painting was bought into the collection by Prince Adam Czartoryski as a gift to his mother, Izabela. This is our final look at the remaining fragment of the defensive walls. Most of the walls, together with the moat, were destroyed in 19th century, when Plante Park was created on their spot.
On the other side, to Florianska Street, there is Słowacki National Theatre. It was established at the end of 19th century. Its architect, Jan Zawiejski, was of a Jewish origin. At that time, and strictly before the Second World War, 25% of the city population was Jewish. Final look at the Słowacki National Theatre, one of the churches that we have almost 30 within the medieval walls of the city of Krakow, and Szpitalna streets.
At the end of the street, you can see two towers, our final destination for today, the Wawel Hill. We are still on Szpitalna Street. You can find here one of two Orthodox churches that there are in Krakow.
It's Sunday early morning. There's service inside.
Szpitalna Street takes us to the heart of the old town. At the end of it, on our right, emerges the monumental back of the St. Mary's Basilica. Further behind it, the main market square. To the left from the end of Szpitalna Street is the so-called Little Square. Once it used to be a separate from the main one market of meat.
This is one of the most atmospheric spots of the old town, the surroundings of St. Mary's Basilica. Look at the architecture of the beautiful St. Mary's Basilica from the 14th century. Opposite to it, there's another church, St. Barbara.
Once it used to be a cemetery chapel, hence the area surrounding the basilica was a burial place.
All of these tourists came here to listen to the Hejnał. Hejnał is the bugle call that is played every hour from the higher tower of the St. Mary's Basilica. It is played 24 times a day. We will also be listening to it. And I have here for you a little bonus, a movie that I made a couple years ago when I climbed the tower and was able to watch the trumpeter playing the Hey Now live. The Hey Now is the symbol of the city. It has been played since 19th century and it's played 24 hours a day and night by many different trumpeters. And here you can see the miniature of the church. There's a whole trail of miniatures like this in the city. They are built for blind people. And from here you can see the amazing scale of this Gothic church. The main part of the church was built just by one citizen who was a merchant. Merchants were very wealthy people since Krakow's economy and prosperity was based on trade. We now entered the church. It's famous for its medieval Gothic altar that was made at the end of 15th century by a German sculptor, Weizstosch. It's a pentaptych, which means it's built out of 5 parts. The main scene of the altar is the Assumption of the Virgin Mary. In the altar itself, you can find 200 figures carved in wood. They are all painted and gilded. It's one of the biggest medieval wooden Gothic altars in Europe. It's 40 feet high. This year, after 6 years of renovation, we came back to the ceremony of opening. It happens every day at noon. So, the moment when you come to Krakow, you'll be able to see it, I hope. Apart from the altar, the church is well known for its medieval stained glass windows and colorful polychromy from 19th century in Art Deco and Art Nouveau style. The ceiling of the church is painted that way that it represents sky full of stars. St. Mary's Basilica is so colorful and rich in decorations. It's one of the most beautiful churches in Poland. So let's have a final look at the altar and we are going out of the church. And one more detail that I wanted to show you outside of the church is this fountain representing a medieval student of Krakow. And now we finally got to the heart of the city, the main market square. The main market square was laid out in 13th century together with the rest of the city plan, and it was a place of trade. It was covered and full of stands and boutiques of merchants. The main product that was sold here and that made Krakow very rich and famous was salt that was found in the nearby salt mine in Wieliczka, today a very popular tourist attraction. We can see now the monument of Adam Mickiewicz, a famous Polish poet from 19th century, and behind Sukiennice, or the cloth hall, where since 15th century the cloth used to be sold. And now we are looking at St. Adalbert Church, which is one of the oldest churches in Krakow,
It probably dates back even to the 10th century, although it's been reconstructed many times since then. Now the silhouette that you can see is in a Baroque style, but from that side we can see its original construction in Romanesque style. This gate used to be the main gate, the main entrance to the church. It's built out of limestone, and you can see that the level of the main square is over 6 feet lower comparing to the nowadays level of the main market square. This is how much the city level has gone up throughout its 1000 years history.
This is the direction where the royal route continues, towards the Wawel Hill, where there's a castle and the cathedral. But let us first go and see the other half of the main market square, with the tower of the former town hall, and eastwards towards the oldest building of the Jagiellonian University, the most ancient university in Poland, founded in 1364.
On the way, let's have a look on the shorter side of the beautiful Renaissance cloth hall building. Once it used to be the first market hall, and today the place where you can buy the souvenirs.
And here we are passing the most traditional and popular way of transport in Krakow. The other half of the main square is usually emptier. So here you can admire its incredible size. The square is 600 feet per 600 feet.
And it makes it the biggest medieval market square of Europe.
On the way to the university, we are passing the former town hall building. Today, just the tower is left. But it's very well governed by these guys.
Here you can see another miniature. It represents how the town hall used to look like before it was destroyed in 19th century by the Austrians, who occupied the city. The Austrian rule refers to the time of the partition of Poland that lasted 123 years. The country was then occupied by three neighbors: Austria, Russia, and Prussia. Krakow and the rest of the southern part of Poland was under Austrian occupation. Throughout whole 19th century, the country of Poland didn't exist. The freedom was brought with the end of the First World War. Poland regained its independence after 123 years. The former town hall building used to have a prison, a torture chamber, and an adjacent beer hall. Before we move from this side of the main square, I have another bonus for you. A movie that was made here in the evening time. Listen and relax. And now we are heading towards University building. The Jagiellonian University was founded in 1364 by our King Kazimierz the Great. It makes it one of the oldest universities of Europe. In this very building, there used to be classes and the professors who used to live. At those days, there were only 4 faculties: humanistics, medicine, law, and art. Today, Collegium Maius is the seat of the University Museum.
Look at the Gothic architecture of the university building. The building is called Collegium Maius, the major college.
On the gate to the professor's garden, you can see the emblem of the university, two crossed scepters. The scepters are the symbol of the donation made by Queen Jadwiga for the foundation of this university building. Jadwiga was a young queen of Poland who died at the age of only 26 years old. In her testament, she gave all her personal treasure and jewels for the foundation of the university building. Hence, Collegium Maius was bought and reconstructed in 1400s. Jadwiga is a saint today and is one of the patrons of the Jagiellonian University. The university has many famous students, among them Karol Wojtyła, the future Pope John Paul II. He came to Krakow at the age of 18 and he studied for 1 year Polish philology before the outbreak of the Second World War. Let's have a look at the monument of another famous student of Jagiellonian University. This is Nicholas Copernicus' statue. Copernicus was born in Toruń and he came to Krakow to study at the Jagiellonian University. The building opposite is Collegium Novum, the new college, the seat of today's rector and administration of the university.
We are now in Planty Park, on the other side of the city. This is exactly where there used to be defensive city walls and the moat surrounding it. In 19th century, the moat and the walls were demolished and the park was established.
Planty is one of my favorite places in the city of Krakow. Look how beautiful it is. It surrounds the city like a green belt, giving its citizens a place to rest and breathe. Look how different it looks like in the fall. This is an old clip of my son riding a bike and playing with the pigeons. Okay, back to the present day. This is the Bishop's Palace. You can see there a window with the mosaic of John Paul II. When he was the Pope and he came to Krakow, he always stayed in this palace and prayed in this church. As a priest, as a bishop and archbishop, he lived half of his life in Krakow. Nearby in the Planty Park, there is an exhibition of photos from the time when he was a pope.
We are now entering Canonica Street. Canonica Street is known to be the oldest street of the city. It's from 15th and 16th century. Above this door, you can see the emblem of Krakow. 3 towers, walls, and an open gate with an eagle. Above all, there is a crown to underline the fact that Krakow used to be the seat of the Polish kings.
Look at the amazing gates of Canonica Street. Gates, framings of the windows, emblems above the doors, historical Gothic and Renaissance facades, wooden doors. This house has an unusual decoration. It's from 16th century. It's painted and it pretends to be three-dimensional.
Also, the layout of the street is as it used to be originally. In the middle of each street, there used to be a gutter. We are shortly back on Grodzka Street, second part of the royal route. Along Grodzka Street, you can find 7 churches. The most fascinating is St. Peter's and Paul's Church, from 17th century in a Baroque style. The 12 disciples are waiting at the entrance. St. Andrew Church, from 10th or 11th century in a Romanesque style, and other churches in the background. And finally, we got here. Behind me you can see the Wawel Hill. There is a silhouette of the castle and the 2 towers of the Wawel Cathedral.
Krakow became the capital of Poland in 11th century, and that's when the Wawel Hill was picked for the residence of the kings. In 19th century, when the Austrians governed the city, it was changed into a fortress. To climb up the hill, we will use the royal entrance. On the wall, you can see the bricks with names. These are the names of people who donated money for the renovation of the castle after it was regained from the hands of the Austrians. Something known today as a list of sponsors. The person welcoming us from the monument is Tadeusz Kościuszko, a common Polish and American war hero. And here we are, climbing the hill, almost on the top of it. There are several buildings here. To the right, we can find the Bishop's Museum and the statue of John Paul II, who as a bishop used to live here. On the other side, we can see the entrance to the cathedral. The cathedral is a bishop's church. Bishopry was established in Krakow in the year 1000. This is the best place to look at the cathedral from, its southern facade. Look at the patchwork of chapels, all of them in different styles and from different times. The cathedral was also the royal church. This is the place where almost all Polish kings were crowned, got married, and are buried. And the last, but not least, the courtyard of the Wawel's castle. Let me show you this beautiful pearl of Renaissance architecture, the best example of Renaissance art outside of Italy. It was designed by an Italian architect from Florence at the order of Polish king Sigismund the Old. Sigismund was from the Jagiellonian dynasty, wealthy and powerful dynasty of Polish kings. He was married to an Italian princess, Bona Sforza, from Milano.
The Wawel Castle was the seat of Polish kings up to the 17th century, when the capital was moved to Warsaw. During the partitions, from the end of 18th century to the 1918, it was a place of military barracks of the Austrian army.
Whereas during Second World War, it was the residence of Hans Frank, general governor of Nazi-occupied Poland. Only after Second World War, this place became a museum, and today offers a wide range of exhibitions.
Let's have a look once more at the beautiful cathedral and the greenery of Wawel Hill. I'm still standing on the top of the Wawel Hill. You can see from here a beautiful view over the city and the Wisła River. This is the end of our tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you in Krakow in person. Bye! And I have a little bonus for you. I wanted also to take you to see the Wisła River, and the part that I'm now filming is called Kazimierz, the former Jewish quarter of Krakow. So it's a little bit outside of the old town, but it's still in the very center of the town. Here you have the view over Wisła River and our foot and bike bridge. And the view on the other side is to Podgórze district that used to be a separate town till 1915, and then it became part of Krakow. It was nicknamed once Little America because it was so modern, industrial, and richer even than Krakow. And on that side that I'm filming now, there used to be Jewish ghetto during the Second World War. So, as I said, it was just a teaser to make your appetite to come to Krakow bigger. I picked just a few photos from the big collection of the pictures I'm taking, mostly from the Jewish quarter, where you can see the synagogues, the Jewish pilgrims coming to pray, the Jewish cemeteries, traditional interior design, and an amazing architecture. Once again, the riverbanks with many churches that we have everywhere, the city center, tenement houses, and the views of the forests from the mountains that are surrounding the city. And for the end, I'm showing you a photo of me guiding, and I hope that one day we'll have a chance to meet in person. Thank you very much.